Hello students, today we are going to start with the fourth chapter of class 7 heat. So the first concept is heat. So what is heat? Heat is a form of energy, correct? Heat is a form of energy which will be flowing from one body of matter to another. So heat is a form of energy flowing from one body of matter to another continuously. So continuously due to the temperature difference. See, if one body is hot and one body is cold, then there will be a transfer of heat. Why? Because there is temperature difference between two objects. So because of this temperature difference, the heat is going to transfer from one body to another body. So from where to where it will transfer? So always the heat transfer from the hotter body to the colder body. So here you need to understand the main concept why the heat is going to transfer. Heat is going to transfer because of their temperature difference. And from where to where the heat is going to transfer? From hotter body to the colder body. So that we'll study in characteristics of heat. So what is the characteristic of heat? Heat always transfer from body of higher temperature to a body of lower temperature, or heat flows spontaneously from hotter body to the cooler body. So as I told you, heat always transfer from the body of higher temperature to the body of lower temperature. So how the heat is going to transfer? From where the body, the temperature of body is hot, from there to the temperature of body is cold. From there to there, the heat is going to transfer. Or you can say the heat flows spontaneously or continuously from hotter body to the cooler body. This is one of the main characteristic of heat. Next, how we can know one object is hot or cold, correct? So in our daily life, we come across n number of objects. Some of them are hot and some of them are cold. Example, the tea what you will drink in the early morning or evening when you have a tea will be hot, correct? So in summer seasons, when you have ice cream, so it will be cold, correct? So how you can differentiate one is hot, one is cold? That is how we'll see here. Some objects are hotter than others and some are colder than others. We often decide which object is hotter than the other by touching the objects. So how you can know is it hot or cold? By touching them. So only by touch and feel you can get to know which is hot and which is cold. So we cannot always rely on our sense of touch to decide how hot or how cold an object is. So this is also one of the important point. We cannot rely on our sense of touch. We cannot depend on our sense of touch. Why? Because it may not give correct information. It may not give correct result. So the hotness of an object is measured by its temperature. So what is temperature? The degree of hotness or coldness of an object. What is temperature? The degree of hotness or coldness of an object is nothing but temperature. So when we add heat to a body, motion of its particle increase. When we remove heat from the body, motion of its particle decrease. So here you need to understand an object is made up of n number of molecules, correct? So inside an object there will be a molecules. So when you heat the object, the molecules get energy. The molecules will gain energy and they start moving. So this is the statement represents. See, when we add heat to body, motion of its particle increase. How the motion of particle increase? By it already gained the energy from heat, correct? So when you heat an object, it gains the energy. So when it gain energy, it start moving. Similarly, when we remove heat from a body, motion of its particle decrease. So when we remove the heat from a body, the energy what it has been gained, it will reduce and the motion of particle also will decrease. Understood? Next concept is temperature. So what is temperature? As I told you, temperature is a measure of degree of hotness or coldness of an object. It is a degree of hotness or coldness of an object. So the temperature of something tells us how hot or cold something is. So what temperature will tell us? It will tell us that how hot or how cold some objects are. So if you want to know some objects, it is hot or cold, we use the term called as temperature. So what is temperature? It is a degree of hotness or coldness of an object. It will tell us how hot it is or how cold it is. Okay. Next, effects of heat. What are the effects of heat? What will be happening if we heat an object? What changes you can see? Yes, so we'll see here. When a body is heated, various types of physical and chemical changes takes place. So when you heat any object, it will be changing its physical and chemical properties. See here. First we'll see physical changes. What are the physical changes happen when the body is heated? First one is change in temperature. First thing is it will change its temperature. On adding heat to a body, its temperature increases. On removal of heat from body, its temperature decreases. So this is the most common thing what you can observe when you heat an object. When you heat an object, its temperature will increase. Similarly, when you cool an object or when you remove the heat from the object, temperature will be decrease. Next change is change of state. What is change of state? So you have three states of matter: solid, liquid, gas. Correct? So here there will be a change in state. On addition or removal of heat from body, there is change in state of body. Exchange of ice to water on addition of heat, etc. So how does change of state occur? For example, when you take an ice cube and start heating it. When you take an ice cube and start heating it, it will change its state from solid state to liquid state. Correct? Similarly, when you boil the water, it will change its state from liquid to gaseous. Similarly, when that gaseous vapors, when you cool down, when you remove the heat, it will again convert into liquid. Understood? So this is the example of change of state. Next change is thermal expansion. So what do you mean by thermal expansion? So the phenomenon of expansion of matter on heating is called as thermal expansion. See, the best example of thermal expansion is the ball and the ring. See, take one ring, fit it into a stand. Fit this into a stand. Yes. So now take a ball. Now take a ball. Okay. So try to insert this ball in the ring. Try to insert this ball inside the ring. So now it will easily pass. It will easily pass through the ring. Now what you will do, you start heating this ball till red hot, till it becomes red hot. Yes. So till it becomes red hot. So when it becomes red hot, it will increase its size. So now when you try to insert this ball in the ring, it will not pass. Why? Because it has been expanded. So when you heat this ball, the heat energy has helped the ball to increase its size. So this concept is called as thermal expansion. Okay. So this is also one of the change when you heat an object. So these are the three physical changes what you can observe when you heat an object. Then when you come to chemical changes, on heating reactants, many chemical changes takes place. So there will be some chemical changes happening to the objects. Right. So this is about the effects of heat. This is all about the effects of heat. Next you have measurement of temperature. Next you have measurement of temperature. So temperature is measured by a device called as thermometer. So what is thermometer? Thermometer is a device which is used to measure the temperature. It is a device which is used to measure the temperature. So temperature is measured in degrees. So we have three different scales. We have three different scales. So in this chapter, we are going to study only two scales. One is a Celsius scale and one more is a Fahrenheit scale. So how to denote Celsius scale? Degree Celsius. See, degree capital C is the symbol of the Celsius scale. Similarly, degree capital F is the symbol of Fahrenheit scale. So this is the denotion or how to denote Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale. Okay. So the Fahrenheit scale is the most popular in United States. Celsius scale is most commonly used in Canada. Okay. So in India, we were using Fahrenheit scale. So now we are using Celsius scale. So they are given the definition of thermometer. Thermometer is an instrument that is used to measure the temperature. What is thermometer? It is an instrument that is used to measure the temperature. Okay. Here you need to remember two things. Two types of scales. What is the definition of thermometer? Okay. Next. Next, measurement of temperature. How we are going to measure the temperature? So there are three scales of measurement of temperature. As I told you, we have three scales: degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. Understood? So on the Celsius scale, the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, whereas its boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. So here we have 2 points. One is peak, one is least. Correct? So the least is 0 degrees Celsius and the peak is 100 degrees Celsius. So what is 0 degree? It is the melting point of water in Celsius scale. Melting point or freezing point. They will be asking dash is a melting point of water or dash is the freezing point of water. So you should tell 0 degree Celsius. You should tell 0 degree Celsius. Similarly, boiling point of water. Correct? It is 100 degrees Celsius. So this scale is calibrated from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. Next, on Fahrenheit scale, the freezing point of water is 32 degree Fahrenheit, whereas its boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit. So this scale is calibrated from 32 degree Fahrenheit to 212 degree Fahrenheit. In Fahrenheit scale, the melting point of water is 32 degree Fahrenheit. In Fahrenheit scale, the boiling point of water is 212 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. So next we have the conversions of Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Celsius. Right, only these two. This is not included in your chapter. So only we'll see these two things. I have explained you in the class. Go through the sums, what I have explained in the class. Okay. We'll see the formula. Degree Fahrenheit is equal to degree Celsius into 9 by 5 plus 32. Degree Fahrenheit is equal to degree Celsius into 9 by 5 plus 32. This is the formula to convert Celsius scale to Fahrenheit scale. They will be giving you the Celsius scale. You need to convert into Fahrenheit scale. Similarly, what if they give the Fahrenheit scale and tell us to convert into Celsius scale? We need to use this formula. Degree Celsius is equal to degree Fahrenheit minus 32 into 5 by 9. Okay, I think you understood. So for the sums, you go through the classwork. I have explained you on the class. Next, you have clinical thermometer. So before going to clinical thermometer, we will understand how many types thermometer we have. We have two types of thermometer. Correct? So one is clinical thermometer and one more is laboratory thermometer. Clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. So what is clinical thermometer? The thermometer that is measure the temperature of body is called clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer which is used to measure the temperature of body. So which thermometer which is used to measure the temperature of body? So that thermometer is called as clinical thermometer. Understood? Yes. You can see the diagrams here. See, I told you the scale 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius in Celsius scale. In clinical thermometer, we use Celsius scale, that is from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. And so this part is called as bulb. So you can see here bulb. And here you can see a small projection here, correct? So it is called as kink. It is called as kink. And there is a liquid fluid which is flowing here inside. That fluid will be mercury. So this fluid is called as mercury. Okay, and the tube is called as bore. Tube is called as, inside tube is called as bore. This will be the complete construction of clinical thermometer. We have construction of clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer has a long narrow glass tube. It has a bulb at one end containing mercury. It has a scale called Celsius scale marked in degrees Celsius. A clinical thermometer reads temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. So the clinical thermometer has a small kink, constriction near the bulb to prevent the mercury level from falling down. So this is the construction of clinical thermometer. So the clinical thermometer has a long narrow glass tube. It will be having a long straight glass tube. It has a bulb at one end. At the one end there will be a bulb, correct? So that bulb will be containing the mercury. Mercury is one of the elements in a periodic table. So that liquid mercury will be there inside the bulb. It has a scale called Celsius scale. So to measure the temperature, we have a scale which is in the form of degrees Celsius. So a clinical thermometer reads temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. So what is the range of clinical thermometer? It is 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. So the clinical thermometer has a small kink. So this is one of the major difference between laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer. So in clinical thermometer, there will be a small kink called as constriction. So near the bulb to prevent the mercury level from falling down. See, as you know, the clinical thermometer, when you remove outside from the body, so the mercury level will drop down very soon. So to avoid that, there will be a kink, that is constriction. So the normal temperature of the human body is 37 degrees Celsius. So this is a 1 mark question. The normal temperature of the human body is 37 degrees Celsius. Next we have reading a clinical thermometer. How we need to read the clinical thermometer. So wash the thermometer with an antiseptic solution, hold it firmly and give it a few jerks to bring the level of mercury below 35 degrees Celsius. So before using a thermometer into a human body, you need to wash with an antiseptic solution. Then hold firmly and give a few jerks to bring the level of mercury below 35 degrees Celsius. So you need to hold the upper part of the thermometer and you need to give a few jerks. Then the mercury level will come below 35 degrees Celsius. Then you need to place the bulb of the thermometer under your tongue. Then after 1 minute, take out the thermometer and note the reading. This will be your body temperature. Okay, so this is how you need to use a clinical thermometer. Next we have a digital thermometer. So what is digital thermometer? A digital electronic thermometer are preferred over conventional mercury thermometer. So digital thermometers are easy to read because it gives LCD display of temperature of a person. So they also mercury free. So here in digital thermometer, they won't use mercury. So this is one of the advantage of digital thermometer over a normal clinical thermometer. Okay. So what is the construction of digital thermometer? So here the numbers, the range is available in digital form. So it is used as an electronic gadget. Okay. So and it is a conventional use. So there is no much care to be taken by while using this digital thermometer. So this gives LCD display. This gives LCD display. So this is one of the advantage of digital thermometer over a normal clinical thermometer. Next we have laboratory thermometer. A laboratory thermometer has a long narrow glass tube. It has a bulb at one end containing mercury. It is similar to a clinical thermometer. It has a scale marked in degrees Celsius. The range of laboratory thermometer is generally minus 10 degrees Celsius to plus 110 degrees Celsius. So here it will vary, the range will vary from clinical thermometer to laboratory thermometer. In clinical thermometer, it is 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius, whereas in laboratory thermometer, we have minus 10 degrees Celsius to plus 110 degrees Celsius. Next concept is transfer of heat. So what is transfer of heat? So the definition here is heat flows from the body at higher temperature to the body of lower temperature. This is called transfer of heat. So transfer of heat is nothing but the transferring of heat. Heat is going to transfer from the body at higher temperature to the body at lower temperature. So where the temperature is hot, from there to the temperature where it is cold, from there to there it is going to transfer. So this concept is called as transfer of heat. This concept is called as transfer of heat. Heat is transferred in three different ways. They are conduction, convection and radiation. So they are called conduction, convection and radiation. We have three concepts of heat transfer of heat, that is conduction, convection and radiation. So next we have conduction. So conduction is a process by which heat is transferred in solids from the hotter end to the colder end. So as the definition of transfer of heat says, so here conduction also will be similar to that transfer of heat. So because it is one of the process under transfer of heat, right? So conduction is a process by which heat is transferred in solids from hotter end to the colder end. So it is a process of transfer of heat. Where happens? It happens in solids. So how it will happen? From hotter end to the colder end. So for this we have an activity. We'll go through the activity. Take an iron or aluminium rod or strip. Fix it few wax pieces on at equal distances. Clamp the rod to a stand. Heat the other end of the rod. So the wax pieces begin to melt and fall down from the heated end. This shows that the heat is transferred from the hotter end to the colder end by conduction. So what is the activity is all about in a sense? So when you take a metal strip, it may be an aluminium, it may be an iron, correct? So take an iron strip, fix it to the stand and take the wax, candle wax and insert, attach these wax pieces at equal distance on the metal strip. So then the another end of the metal strip start heating with the Bunsen burner or candle. So when you start heating the one end of the metal strip, so the molecules whatever the present here get heated up and it will transfer the heat from one molecule to another molecule. Yes. So when the heat is going to transfer in the metal strip, so the wax, the candle wax which is attached near to the flame will fall first, because the heat is transferred from hotter end to the colder end, correct? So now this will be the hotter end, this will be the colder end. So now the heat is going to transfer from here to here. So this concept is called as conduction. Yes. Yes, a transfer of heat through direct contact. So how it will happen through direct contact? So occurs anytime objects at different temperature are touching each other. For example, if you are cooking some food item or you are cooking. So take an example here. So this is a baker, you are cooking a food item and you have placed the vessel or what you can tell the handle inside the food itself. So after a few time you come and touch, if you touch this handle, it will be very hot. So why? Because the heat is going to transfer from food item to the handle. So from the heat is transferred from the food item to the handle also. So this is an example of through direct contact. This is an example of the transfer of heat through direct contact in solids. Okay. Next, as long as the objects are in contact, transfer of heat will continue until the temperature of the object is the same. So till where the heat is going to transfer? So the heat is going to transfer when both the objects temperature becomes equal. See, I told you the heat of this food item is going to transfer to the handle. Till when it happens? So until the temperature of this handle and the food item becomes equal, the heat is continuously transferring. As soon as both the temperature becomes equal, the transfer of heat going to stop. Okay. Example, if you leave a metal spoon in a pan of soup that you have eating on a stove, it may burn your fingers. The spoon is in direct contact with the hot soup, the heat is transferred to the spoon. Yes, this is what I have explained you. Until where it will transfer? Until both the temperature becomes equal, the heat is continuously transferring. Next we have conductors and insulators. So what do you mean by conductors and insulators? So based on heat, we define two items, conductors and insulators. So conductors are nothing but the materials which allow heat to pass through them easily. So those materials which will allow heat to pass through them easily, they are called as conductors. Example, iron, aluminium, copper, etc. Similarly, insulators. Insulators are the materials which do not allow heat to pass through them are called insulators. So example, wood, plastic, glass, rubber, hair, water. So what do you mean by conduct and what do you mean by insulate? For example, I will take wood. Correct? So when I start burning the wood, wood will burn and convert into ash. Same way, if I take an iron strip or a metal strip and start heating, after heating also, it won't turn it into ash. Correct? So those items after burning, they won't convert into ash. So they will be called as conductors. Okay? So this is simple way what you can understand. What are conductors? What are insulators? So the materials which will conduct heat to pass through them are called conductors, and the materials which will not conduct heat to pass through them are called insulators. And examples also very important, you need to remember. Next we have convection. This is second concept of transfer of heat. Convection is a process by which heat is transferred in liquids and gases. So what is convection? It is a process of transfer of heat. Where it will happen? It will happen in liquids and gases. How it will happen? From hotter part to the colder part. See, in transfer of heat you told hotter body to the colder body. In convection you told hotter end to the colder end. But in convection you need to tell hotter part to the colder part. Okay, you need to know the difference. Then the activity related to convection. Take some water in a round bottom flask. Keep it on a tripod stand. Put a crystals of potassium permanganate in it. Heat it with the burner. The water at the bottom becomes hot and rises up, and cold water from the top moves down. This water becomes hot and rises up, and cold water from the top moves down. The process continues till all the water gets heated. This shows that heat is transferred by convection. So where you can observe this, in a sense, you can observe this while you boiling the water with the help of water heater. So if you have a water heater in your home, so use this, conduct this activity. So plug in the water heater, put it in the water. So after some time, remove the water heater and touch the upper part of water and touch the lower part of water. So you can see the difference. So the upper part of the water will be hot, whereas the lower part of the water will be cold. So why is this so? Because the hot water being lighter, it will move up, whereas cold water being denser, it will come down. See, you can see here. Hot water rises, cooler water sinks. Why is this? Because hot water, when it gains heat energy, it becomes lighter and it will move up. Similarly, the cold water being denser, it will move down. Again, the cold water absorbing this heat and become lighter and move up. The cold water comes down. So this will continue till all the water in the beaker becomes hot. And this process is called as convection. Next you have convection. The transfer of energy in liquids or gases. When part of gas or liquid is heated, the particles it is made up of move faster and spread out more. See, when the heat is going to transfer from one body to another body, the molecules will become free and they move faster. The moving of particles bump into the other particles, causing them to move faster and spread out more. So as soon as the molecule gets heat energy, they becomes more active and it will initiate other molecules also become more active. So this is how the convection process happens. What happens in convection in air? What happens the convection process in air? How it will be happening? So we'll see. The air near the heat source gets heated and rises up. The air from the sides move it into take its place. In this way, the air gets heated. If you keep one hand above the flame and one hand on the side of the flame, the hand at the top feels hot because the air above is heated by convection. The hand at the side does not feel as hot because there is no convection. So this is the live example what you can feel in your home. So when you put a campfire, so there you can conduct this activity. You will be observing clearly. Okay. So based on this convection of air, we have two concepts. That is sea breeze and land breeze. So what is sea breeze and what is land breeze? So we'll see first sea breeze. During the daytime, the land gets heated faster than the sea. First you need to understand which will heated faster and which will be cooler faster. So in both the cases, land will be at the first. Land will heat fast and land will cool fast. This concept you need to keep in mind very carefully. Bega heat agodu land, bega cool agodu land. So land will get heated up fast, land will get cool also fast. Okay. So now we will understand the definition. During the day, the land gets heated faster than the sea. So the air above the land gets heated, becomes hotter and rises up, and cool air from the sea move towards the land. This is called sea breeze. As I told you, land will get heated up faster. So when the land is heated, what about the air present on the land? So the air also becomes hotter. When the air becomes hotter, it will rise us up and create a space below. Correct? So land heat agutte, land meliro air kuda heat agutte. Heat adaga air lighter agutte and becomes rises up. It will rise up. So avaga kelgade space create agutte. So this space is filled with some air, right? So that space is filled by the air which is blowing from the sea. See here, the cool air from the sea move towards the land. Understood? The cool air move towards the cool air from the sea move towards the land. This is called as sea breeze. See here, this is the land. Yes. So here land will get heated up faster. So when land is heated up, the air above the land also will heated. Correct? So when the air is hot, it becomes lighter and rises up. It will rise us up. Correct? So here the space is created, empty space. So this empty space should fill with some air. So this empty space is filled with the cool air blowing from the sea towards the land. See, the red color will be hot air and the blue color will be cold air. Land mele land bega hot agate, land hot adaga land mele iro air kuda hot agate. Hot adaga adu mele rise agate air, rise agbitu it will blow towards the sea. Okay na, a concept nam beda. Just you need to understand, it will rise us up. Then here it will create a gap. So this gap should be filled with the cool air blowing towards the land from the sea. The cool air from the sea blowing towards the land. So this concept is called as sea breeze. Next we have land breeze. In land breeze also you should understand one concept. During the night time, sea cools down slowly than the land. So this means land will cool very fast when compared to sea. Sea ginta land bega cool agate. Okay na? So hot air above the sea rises up and cool air from the land move towards the sea. This is called land breeze. So here, when compared to sea and land, land will get cool faster. Land will be cool faster. So the hot air present above the sea will rises up. Hot air above the sea will rises up, and the cool air from the land move towards the sea is called as land breeze. The cool air from the land move towards the sea is called as land breeze. Understood? So they will be asking for 4 marks. They can ask explain sea breeze and land breeze with correct diagram, or they can ask differentiate between sea breeze and land breeze. So you should give the proper answer. Sea breeze, air moves from the sea during the day. Key points. Sea breeze andre air moves from the sea during the day. Land breeze means air moves from the land at night. Okay. Sea breeze andre sea in the cooler blow agate. Land breeze andre land in the cooler blow agate. Next, the last concept is radiation. So what is radiation? Radiation is the process by which heat is transferred from one place to another without the help of any medium. Without the help of any medium. Very important point. Without the help of any medium. So which is the example? Example is nothing but the heat from the sun reaches the earth by radiation. So sun in the earth heat radiation transfer. Heat will transfer. So this is the concept how the radiation works. Okay. So when we sit near the fire, we feel warm during the heat radiated by the fire. All hot bodies radiate heat. So when you just sit in front of the fire, you will be getting heat without any medium. So that is what? Radiation. Next, heat from the sun. You can feel the sun warm your skin on a sunny days. So on a sunny days, if you come outside, you can feel that your skin will be burning. So why? Because the heat radiated from the sun. So this is because the energy causes the particles in your skin to move faster. Then it will be equal to more heat energy. So as the sun will provide you heat, that heat will be absorbed by your skin and the molecules present in your skin will be moving faster. So that will create you heat energy in your body. Next, the one more concept, dark colored surface and light colored surface. So what do you mean by dark colored and light colored surface? What is the advantage? So we will learn in this slide. So dark colored surface absorb more heat than the light colored surface. This will be a give reason question. Dark colored surface absorb more heat than the light colored surface. So for example, we will conduct an activity. Take 2 tin cans of the same size, paint the outer surface of the black. Paint outer surface of one black and other white. Pour equal amounts of water in each and leave them in the sunlight for about 1 hour. Measure the temperature of water in both the cans. Then water in the black can is warmer than the water in the white can. So what you need to do? You need to take 2 cans, 2 tins. 1 tin should be black color, 1 tin should be white color. Take equal amount of water and keep it in sunlight for few minutes or few hours. After that, if you take and measure the temperature of both the cans, the black color can will be having higher temperature when compared to the white color can. So this shows that dark colored objects absorb more heat when compared to the light colored objects. So only because of this reason, you don't wear a dark colored clothes during the summer. So your parents will be telling, black colored clothes you don't wear during summer. Why? Because black is a dark color. So it will absorb more heat. Anyhow, it is summer. So in the summer, if you wear black color, it will absorb more heat. It will be very hot. So you need to prefer a light colored cloth during summer. Next we have a dark colored surfaces radiate more heat than light colored surface. See, absorption is more. Absorption is different. Radiation is different. Radiation means liberation. Absorption means absorbing. Absorbing is different. Liberation is different. Okay. So take 2 tin cans of same size. Paint the outer surface of one black and other white. pour equal amounts of hot water of the same temperature. Here it is same. Take 2 tin cans. One should be black, one should be white. Now here you are going to add hot water. Previously we were adding normal water. Now we are adding hot water of same temperature. So leave them in a room or a shade of 10 to 15 minutes. Measure the temperature of water in the both cans. The water in the black can is cooler than the water in the white can. So here what you can observe. So when you take black can and white can with a hot water and you keep it in a dark room for 10 to 15 minutes. So when you touch both the cans at once, so the can which is dark color will be very cool when compared to the light colored can. So why it is cool? Because it already radiated. Radiated means it already liberated all the heat. Dark colored objects will liberate more heat. Understood? So that is what nothing but radiation. Dark colored objects radiates more when compared to the light colored objects. Next. So next we have kinds of clothes we wear in summer and winter. Dark colored clothes, dark colored surface absorb more heat than a light colored surface. Dark colored surface radiate more heat than light colored surface. So these two activities we have performed in the previous slide. Correct? So we wear dark colored clothes in winter because it absorbs more heat and keep us warm. So we need to wear a dark colored clothes in winter. We need to wear light colored clothes in summer. So this is the concept what they are going to explain here in these two sentences. We wear woolen cloths in winter because wool is poor conductor of heat and the air in between the wool fibers prevents loss of heat from our body, so we feel warm. Okay, woolen cloth is a good, insulator of heat. It is an insulator of heat. It will not absorb heat. Okay. So here all the examples given in one activity: conduction, convection and radiation. So if you keep the metal strip in the fire, you will be absorbing the conduction, direct contact. Convection means through air. Convection, radiation means without any medium. So here they are going to explain all the three concepts in one diagram. Same way here also. So this is the chapter heat of class 7. Hope you understood. Thank you.